Welcome along, fellow Dark Magician enthusiasts, to another video. Today's video is going to be a deck profile on my Rush Duel deck that I got to King of Games with. Now, I will warn you, this is not an optimized deck. The only reason I ran with this deck was because in gold rank in Duel Links for Rush Duel, you cannot D-rank. And so I got to gold rank 5 of this and thought, you know what, I am just going to push until I make it to King of Games, and I did. So I'm still going to do the profile. Good deck. There is a free-to-play version which I will show you afterwards. That will work even better than this. So, quick rundown for those that have not played Rush Duel in Duel Links. You can essentially, so in Duel Links, you have 6,000 life points instead of 4,000. You can normal summon as many times as you want. There is such thing as legend cards where you can only have one legend monster, one legend spell, and one legend trap in your deck at a time. You cannot have more than one legend card of that type. Also, when you're drawing cards, you always draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. If you have 5 cards in your hand already, you only draw 1 card. And there's also in the game such thing as maximum monsters, which consists of 3 different pieces: a left piece, a middle piece, and a right piece, that you can maximum summon together into a big monster. And when it's maximum summoned, usually maximum monsters cannot be destroyed by your opponent's trap card effects. That's how it typically works. But yeah, they have various effects that can make them really, really strong, really, really powerful. So, with that being said, let's get into this deck profile. Now, the skill, Magician Shuffle. This skill can only be used if all monsters with 2,500 or more attack in your deck are spellcaster type. So any monster that has 2,500 or more attack and is not a spellcaster will switch off this skill. So you got to be careful what you're putting in. It does allow various other cards to be teched into this deck though. On turn 2 onward, so the requirement in order to activate the skill is on turn 2 onward, reveal 1 dark attribute spellcaster type monster with 1,700 or more defense, like these two, in your hand to your opponent. And the effect is that you add 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and send 1 Dark Attribute Spellcaster type monster with 1,700 or more defense from your hand to the graveyard. So like if you have Dark Magician Girl in your hand, you reveal it, you add Dark Magician to your hand, and then you send Dark Magician to the graveyard, and immediately Dark Magician Girl will get its attack boost. Now, I will have to apologize about my voice. I may sound snuffly because my nose is feeling congested, so I do apologize if I cough or sniffle throughout the video. Like that, sorry. Yeah, just trying to alleviate the condition, but it hasn't really gotten any benefit. Anyway, back to the profile. It's really, the skill's really good for just setting that up. And surprisingly, in Rush Duel, Dark Magician Girl's attack is increased by 500 for each Dark Magician in both players' graveyards. Not 300. Which makes this really, really good. Makes it really good in Rush Duel. It's nuts. Right. Now, for the cards in the profile. 3 copies of Dark Sword Magician. It has a really good effect that if your opponent has more level 7 or higher monsters on their field compared to the amount of monsters you have on your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. So like if you got 1 monster on your field and your opponent has 2 level 7 face-up monsters, you can special summon 1 Dark Sword Magician. I've had moments where my opponents had like 3 level 7 higher monsters and I've just had all 3 Dark Sword Magicians in my hand, so I've just gone 1, 2, 3, special summon them all. It's really, really good. It can be bricky though. So I would recommend running 1, which remember, I will show you an optimized version later on. I wouldn't run too much, but like, you know, I wanted to get to King Games with 3 because, you know, it's cool. Yeah. Now, it has a continuous effect. If you have 6 or more spell cards in your graveyard, this card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's effects. Now, this deck runs a bunch of spells that are designed to go off very easily, so it can be possible to set up 6 spell cards by turn 1, though that would require perfect synergy in like what you draw and stuff. And I've had turns where like I've had 4 cards in the graveyard by turn 1. And sometimes it's also thanks to the opponent blowing up bait that I've put onto the field. Kind of helps. Next we have 3 copies of Dark Magician Girl. It's such a good 1 monster tribute. They can get to 2,500 attack. Really strong. It's pretty much one of the main monsters you would tribute summon. Like, you wouldn't really tribute summon anything else. I mean, you would tribute summon Dark Magician or Dark Sword Magician if you really had to. But Dark Magician Girl is your main monster that you're going to be hitting opponents with. 3 copies of Seven's Road Sorcerer, which I believe Seven's Road Sorcerer has single-handedly made this deck work so well. Because what you can do with the card, you send 3 face-up monsters from the field to the graveyard, and then you special summon a level 7 or lower spellcaster type monster from your graveyard to your field. So you can send all 3 monsters to the grave that you've got in your field, and then special summon Dark Magician or even special summon Dark Sword Magician. It's really, really good, and you can set up a bunch of other cards as well. 3 copies of Light Sorcerer of Sanctity. Now, I will have to clarify with monster effects, I forgot to mention this as well. Each monster card, you can only use its effect once per turn. So if you have multiple copies of Light Sorcerer of Sanctity on your field, you can activate the effect of each copy once. That's how that works in Rush Duel. So you pay 300 life points, and then your opponent's one monster your opponent controls, it's got to be face up. It loses its attack equal to the number of face up light attribute spellcaster type monsters on your field times 300. So if you have 3 light spellcasters on your field, it'll lose 900 attack. If you only have 2, 600. Then if only Light Sorcerer of Sanctity is on your field, it would lose 300. So like, you pair 2 of these together with a Light Sorcerer, you can reduce your opponent's monsters pretty well. It's just good for getting the big monsters down enough so you can beat over them. Because there's a lot of monsters that can boost their own attack really easily. And there's always a bunch of 2,500 or higher monsters in the game. It's nuts. But yeah, it's good card. Good card for what it can do. 2 copies of Dark Magician's Curtain. I wouldn't run more than 2, because once you have DM or DMG in your hand, that's when the deck really starts popping off. But essentially what this does, you pay 700 life points, and you excavate the top 4 cards of your deck, and then you can choose up to 2 excavated DMs or DMGs, and add them to your hand, and then you place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now it's really good when you can mill, or when you can excavate 2 cards and then grab both of them. It's really good, helps thin the deck out more. It also just gives you an insight as to what you possibly would have drawn next turn. Sometimes it can be a real godsend on how good it pretty much, like, you know, you might have a bunch of unplayable cards for your next turn, so you put them on the bottom, and then you increase your chances of getting a really good hand for next turn. Sometimes it can backfire though, and like all your good cards are at the top and then they have to go at the bottom. It sucks. Sometimes it's a double-edged sword, it's a gamble, but it's good. I wouldn't run more than 3 though, I will say. 2's enough. 3 copies of Mystic Dealer. Send 1 spellcaster type monster from your hand to the graveyard, draw 1 card. This is where the synergy with Seven's Road Sorcerer is really strong. If you have Dark Magician in your hand, for example, and you've already got 3 monsters in your field, including Mystic Dealer, just use Mystic Dealer's effect, send DM to draw a card, then use Seven's Road Sorcerer, send all 3 monsters from the field to grave, and special summon Dark Magician. Really good. It also helps dodge any tribute summoning, or any effects that go off when you tribute summon, because there is a trap called Forever Freeze. Let me look it up. Yeah. When your opponent normal summons a monster with 2,500 or more attack, send 1 monster from your field to the graveyard, and then you place that normal summoned monster on the bottom of the owner's deck. Any cards like this, there's even one called Tribute Lock. It changes it to face up defense position. It's really... 7's resource is really good for dodging those effects. Really, really good. A Mystic Dealer sending a Spellcaster type monster to graveyard to draw synergizes so well. 1 copy of Dark Magician, because you can only have 1 legend monster. Have to have the main man himself in the deck. Otherwise the deck would not function. 3 copies of Light Sorcerer. Pairs well with Light Sorcerer of Sanctity. It's also very good as a generic 1500 attack beater. Yeah, good card. Not much else to say about that. 1 copy of Thousand Knives. Thousand Knives is so strong in Rush Duel. It's nuts. It is limited 1, so you can only have 1 copy in the deck, which, by the way, I will rant a little bit. Burst Stream of Destruction can destroy every monster on the opponent's field, and is limited 1. Whereas Thousand Knives can only destroy 1 monster, and is limited 1. Where is the logic, Konami? Are you scared that Dark Magician could be really powerful? Anyway, that's what it is. It is what it is. So unless Konami unlimit it, just can only have 1. The legend spell of choice is Tribute to the Doomed. This is really good for reducing your hand for your next turn, so you can draw up to 5. And it's also really good as generic monster removal. Yeah, it's very good, very good for dealing with maximum monsters. It's great. I wouldn't run any other legend spell that's currently in the game. It's a good card for what it can do. 1 copy of Talismanic Seal Array. Not only does this put 4 monsters from your graveyard back into the deck, which helps refresh your deck and stop it from decking out. A face-up monster on the opponent's field loses attack equal to its level times 200 until the end of the turn. So it's really good for dealing with level 7, level 8s, and the maximum monsters, level 10s. It's really good for just dropping their attack as close to 0 as possible, so you can smash over them. It's really, really good. I would not run more than 1, we don't need to. 1 I've found is just enough. Because there are times otherwise where you would just crash your big monster into their big monster and then use your other monsters to keep attacking. We only run 1 Talismanic Seal Array because we've got Thousand Knives and we have Tribute to the Doomed as well. Keep that in mind. Those are your main removals. 3 copies of Magic Curtain. You pay 1,000 life points and you special summon any spellcaster type monster from your hand to your field. And if it's summoned by this effect, for this turn only, it can't be destroyed by your opponent's trap card effects. So, if your opponent tries to play Widespread Ruin, for example, which I do have here, which destroys the highest attack monster on the opponent's side of the field, your opponent tries to activate this, that monster isn't going to blow up if it's got the highest attack. Like, you special summon Dark Sword Magician with the card, 2,500 attack, and you've got nothing else that has 2,500 attack, Widespread Ruin is just going to do nothing. It's that good of a card. It does cost 1,000 life points though, very hefty cost, but hey, still good. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that, it's just good. Dark Magic Attack. This is your spell and trap removal. Now, there is Magical Stream, which is just destroys a singular spell and trap while you have a spellcaster type monster on your field. But Dark Magic Attack, it's so satisfying to just play this card and just watch all 3 of your opponent's cards go bang, 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 and hit the graveyard. It's extremely satisfying, and you can just do it every single, like you can do it every time your opponent fills up the spell trap zone. Just bring back Dark Magician, bang, 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 just blow them all up. It's so good, so satisfying to watch. Always run 3. This is your spell trap removal. This is the only way you're getting rid of spells and traps. And because you can get rid of up to 3, like, you wouldn't run anything else. It's that good. 3 Recovery Force. So you shuffle 3 spellcaster type monsters from your graveyard into the deck and you draw 1 card. It's really good for just putting, refreshing your deck so you don't deck out, and also good for just, trying to draw extra cards. It's really good. You can run less if you really want to, but I've found running 3 helps really well because, if I happen to lose 1 copy, I need to make sure I can rely on using the other copies to keep myself in the game and to keep myself drawing cards. So yeah, good card. Legend trap of choice is Negate Attack. Really strong trap that just switches off attacks for the rest of the turn. It is really good. It does not care about levels. Even if it's a maximum monster that's about to crash into you, you can just go,
nice try, but I play the trap card Negate Attack!
And they cannot do anything. Like, they just have to end the turn. It is that good. Yeah, I wouldn't really run any other legend trap of choice. Reason being is because if we filter by legend, if we can. No, we cannot filter by... Oh no, we can, yes. There's only 2 legend traps in the game, and maximum monsters cannot be destroyed by trap effects. So Negate Attack is huge. It's good. I would always run it. And lastly, Buffered Slime, which you can only run one of because it's only one of it available. But it's good when an opponent's level 8 or lower monster declares an attack. You send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, and then for the remainder of the turn, you take no battle damage. Then, if your life points are 3,000 or higher, you take 2,000 damage. So, if you know you're about to take more than 2,000 battle damage for that turn, this is a godsend. That's if your life points are over 3,000. If they're less than 3,000, it's just good either way. Like, just completely stops battle damage, and your opponent can either keep attacking you, or they can stop and end the turn. It's a good saving grace. Really good. Yeah, there's not really much else for me to say about it. It's just that good. Rush is very simple. It's satisfying how simple it is. It's a nice breath of fresh air. It's great to play. So that is the deck that I use to get the King games with. Now, the optimized version, which, by the way, this skill can be used by any character. Whoops. We don't want to do that. We want to go to like the deck box. Here we go. This is the optimized version. You will notice, instead, I only have 1 copy of Dark Soul Magician, 2 of Light Sorcerer of Sanctity, and 1 of Magic Curtain. So that's 5 cards gone, and now you're at the absolute minimum 30 cards. This, I've played a few Duels and King games, and this is very consistent. It's really good. I'll be getting to King games next season with this, and this is completely free to play, by the way. I mean, look, Buffered Slime and Negate Attack do have to be obtained through special sets, which do cost a fair amount of gems, like 950 gems, but these cards are very good and they're worth the investment. Like Tribute to the Doomed is also a special set card. So you will be forking out about, if I just do the math real quickly in my head, it's about 2,850 gems for 3 cards. But they are that good and are worth running. If you're looking to invest into Rush Duel, these cards are really good. Yeah, that is the deck. There are a bunch of skills that can just boost the attack of their monsters and also reduce the attack of your monsters, which is very annoying, seeing like your 2,500 attack monster just like, you watch the opponent activate their skill and they just get like a 400 or 600 attack boost, and that's all of a sudden they have more than 2,500 attack and they can just hit you. They just beat you, win, easy. I know it makes other skills playable, but it is very annoying to see sometimes. But hey, I mean, we're working with the best we can get. Is Dark Vision good in Rush Duel now? I will say half and half. It's half and half, because there's some skills where they can just pile over you easily, and especially skills that can just set up maximum monsters so easily. There are some decks that are just absolutely insane in power, but Dark Magician can hold its own against various decks. It's still somewhat good. It's not the best deck. Well, I mean, I will say, in my opinion, it is best deck, because, you know, Dark Vision, of course, best deck. But realistically speaking, it is not the strongest deck in the game at the moment. Once they add more Dark Vision support, however, and cards that have been known to work well with Dark Vision Rush Duel, it will become one of the strongest decks. And Konami absolutely knows it. Because if you don't know, Dark Vision Rush Duel is like very strong. It even caused cards in Rush Duel to get limited. It's crazy. Yeah. That being said, that is the profile. Thank you very much for watching. Despite me having my congested nose and my off voice, that is it for the profile. I will try and get to work on my tips and tricks video, because I've still got that in the works. I want to try and get it out soon, unless something changes that puts other videos out, maybe because of like updating news or whatever. But yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all next time.